And welcome back to the show. Our next guest recently wrote a book about his life journey, discussing his courage to continue, the boldness to defy the odds. His book, My Feet Are Off the Ground, is a story about friendship, forgiveness, redemption, adversity, as well as tough love. Joining me now and sharing more details is motivational speaker and author Jeff Williams. And Jeff, good to have you back here on the show.
Good morning, Darren. It's a pleasure to be back on the show. And thank you for having me and letting me discuss my book that I've been working on since the last time we've met. And one of the reasons why I wanted to come on the show is just to bring more exposure to the book, because I feel like it's something that's very important for a lot of people to read, because the book is motivational, inspirational, and it's about forgiveness. And I think this book speaks about forgiveness in a way most people have never forgiven before. And one of the other things that touched me with the book is from the people who have read it already, you know, it just showed them that no matter what you go through, no matter what challenges you're faced in life, you can overcome them and still progress and be successful.
Yeah. And I want to get an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the book and your life, because, you know, you're very passionate about letting people know about your life story without giving away all the contents of the book, but give some people a little bit of background as to your life and where you are today.
Well, when I was 13 years old, I was accidentally shot by one of my friends playing with a gun. And where most people at 13 are going through puberty and on their way to high school, I was faced with a life-changing event. And it kind of put my future on hold, because after being shot and paralyzed, I didn't realize what my future would look like. I had no idea where I would go from that point. And it left me in a dark place where I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel at the moment.
And for you, obviously, it's been, you know, that experience itself is traumatic. That experience was life-changing for you. And you talk about walking around in a dark place, and then you had that turnaround moment. Share with us, what was the turnaround moment for you where you were able to engage in forgiveness and really being able to now be a voice for those who've actually had similar experiences and life's traumas?
I think the turnaround point was when I was in the hospital and I was coming out of recovery from one of the several operations that I was having to remove the bullet. And I'm laying on a stretcher, and I have this young guy sitting next to me on a stretcher, and he looks at me and tears are running out my eyes. And he says to me, you know, why are you crying? And I looked at him and I said, I'm paralyzed. I can't move my legs. And he asked me, could I see my legs? And when he asked me that, at the moment, I thought the question really didn't make a lot of sense. And he removed the sheet from his legs, and I realized he didn't have any legs. He was in a train accident. A Metro North train ran his legs over. He was playing on the train tracks. And to see him with a smile on his face and not have his legs, it just made me realize that no matter how bad I think I am, there's always somebody who has it worse. And watching him and several other the kids that was on the hospital ward who had spina bifida, who had been paralyzed from their neck down with injuries that appeared to be worse than what my injuries were, it just showed me that, you know, so many other people are going through so many different things. We all have a story. We all have life challenges. So I didn't want to be selfish at that moment and only worry about or think about myself. So it kind of changed the focus of my life at that moment.
And so now you go on to write the book, and obviously your book is a life in the making, if you will. Share with us how long it took you to really decide to put it from pen to paper and to get it out there. Was it a long process?
It actually, when we went into that quarantine for the pandemic, I'm real active, so I'm not used to being in the house a lot. So I was sitting in the house and I'm wondering, what am I going to do with all this time? You know, I'm working from home. I'm home every day. We can't really go outside. You know, we have to be safe due to the pandemic. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I be productive with this time? And for years, I wanted to write this book and tell this story because I would go speak to different individuals who were recently injured. And usually when a parent called me to ask me to come and speak to their kid who was either from a gunshot wound, a car accident, things like that, that they ended up paralyzed, and they felt like I could be that voice to change this person's life. And I remember going to visit a young man by the name of Edward. And when I went in the room to speak to him, the impact that I had on him and the fact that I was able to connect with him through this accident that we both shared and give him a reason to live. When I left the hospital that day, it just made me feel like this story is more powerful than I actually know. It's actually something that is building people, changing their lives, making them reevaluate their situation and look at their future and not at what happened to them.
Yeah. And so, as you wrote this book now, you have got it out and going. Talk to us about the process. You're out there right now. The book is out there. You've got a book tour coming?
Yes. One of the other things doing like writing this book and putting it together, I had the honor of meeting my editor, Nilsa Crosby, and she had a writing course called Helping Writers Write. So I took the course, and during the course, I learned better ways and better strategies to write a book. And one of the things that stuck to me the most was I felt like she showed me how to bring details to life. And in the sense of, when you look down the street or you're mentioning uh, a scene, it kind of taught me how to bring my reader into the book with the details so they could actually feel and walk through the story as if they were me. And I was able to nail that. And I think that's what makes this book so special, because it takes you through the journey of that dark place that I was in, and it brings you to the light of when I transitioned into the success story.
Yeah. I can't leave without talking about Jay Lorenzo motivational sneakers. So you got some motivational sneakers out there, huh?
Yes, I also created a pair of sneakers, and each one of the sneakers have like a motivational quote in them. And I put the motivational quote in the sneakers, so when people wear my sneakers and they put them on in the morning, they actually read this quote and start their day in a positive way. Because I feel like your life is basically the way you think. So if you think positive, then it kind of leads you into a positive day and makes you feel good inside. When you feel good inside, you feel good outside.
Well, I gotta congratulate you again, brother. It's been great having you be with us. You know, you're inspiration to so many people, and want to thank you so much for taking the time. And congratulations on the book and the sneaker line. And hopefully, we'll be getting a chance to chat real soon.
Thank you so much, Darren, for having me today.
Jeff Williams, our guest back here on Open. Want to let you know, listen, if you want more information, I want you to go visit him. You can catch him on Instagram. He's got Shoes by Jay Lorenzo. You can find out about the book. You can find out about the sneaker line, and you can get connected. Jeff, again, great to have you. And of course, we're taking a quick break. Got more show. Open continues coming up right after this.